This morning, I saw the agenda, Mr. Chair. There was an additional agenda added in this committee, and this is supposed to be the manifestation raised by Congresswoman Louis Stroh. And I saw in the notes that it was taken up as motu proprio matter, Mr. Chair.
Yes, the chair would like to recognize Congressman Rodante Marcoleta. With the indulgence, of course, of Congressman Suwan. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I be allowed to raise some procedural issues?
Congressman Marcoleta, you are not a member of this committee, so therefore you are not allowed.
I think, Mr. Chair, we have yet to resolve that because, as you said in the last hearing, my removal as a vice chair of this committee was a plenary action. And therefore, there should be a plenary action to remove me as a member of this committee. I'd like to believe, Mr. Chair, that when I was installed as a vice chair of this committee, it presupposes membership. I am supposed to be deemed a member because if I were not a member, I cannot be appointed as a vice chair. The officiality of that is, a position is only a privilege, but membership is organic. So until and unless that was to be resolved, Mr. Chair, I think you have to recognize me as a member of this committee because even if I admit or I will probably accede to you that I am not a member, kahit hindi po ako member sa committee ito, being a member of the House of Representatives, I have the right to make issues and to raise issues. That's why I'm asking your permission to do so, Mr. Chair.
You can at any time make a manifestation. In fact, I've been recognizing you po. But with respect to the issue of your removal, the committee is not in the position to answer that. Maybe you can question the Committee on Rules. Sila po ang proper committee na po pwede pong sumagot.
Yes, Mr. Chair, that is correct. The only reason why I answered you back because you said that I am not a member of this committee. I should not have raised that at all had you not said it. But may I continue, Mr. Chair, in raising some procedural issue because during the first hearing, I know that the very basis of this inquiry in aid of legislation was the privileged speech delivered by Honorable Valeriano. And I would like to make of record, Mr. Chair, although I was unable to do that during the first hearing, the privileged speech should not have been allowed at all based on our rules. Our rules specifically states that no one can be allowed or avail the privilege hour if the concern he is to raise in his privileged speech principally and directly relates to a bill under consideration. At the time, Honorable Valeriano, Mr. Chair, delivered his privileged speech, the General Appropriations Bill was already filed on August 27, 2024. It took the floor on September 3, and therefore, any concern relating to the subject matter in the budget or in the bill should not have been allowed at all. And then this morning I saw the agenda, Mr. Chair. There was an additional agenda added in this committee, and this is supposed to be the manifestation raised by Congresswoman Louis Stroh. And I saw in the notes that it was taken up as motu proprio matter, Mr. Chair. On procedural matters, I don't know how it should be done because motu proprio to my mind is something that would indicate an official action taken without formal request from another party. And so my question, Mr. Chair, is how did the committee took it on a motu proprio basis when it was a manifestation taken by another party? I see it a very unusual procedure, Mr. Chair, because this representation, I would like to recall that sometime in March 2024, delivered a privileged speech dealing on the same subject matter, and I think even more, I question the several irregularities pointed out by the Commission on Audit, specifically in 2017, 2018, and 2019, covering the audit report of COA in the Department of Education. In that privileged speech, Mr. Chair, I took note of the sum of something like 3.25 billion pesos of information communication technology packages. As noted by the Commission on Audit at the time, Mr. Chair, there were no adequate supporting documents. Unfortunately, that privileged speech was not even referred to the department or to the committee, to any committee, either the Committee on Education or the Committee on Good Government. And so my question, Mr. Chair, is how is it special, or how special can a manifestation issued during the budget committee hearing that this committee, this good committee, already took it as a motu proprio action, subject matter to be covered by this hearing. So parang there is no consistency, Mr. Chair. Parang I would like to volunteer, Mr. Chair, that a copy of my privileged speech delivered on March 15, 2021, entitled COBADI's DepEd. It was not even referred to any committee, Mr. Chair. When I exposed several irregularities in the Department of Education as audited by the Commission on Audit, I would like to volunteer that this be made part of the documents that might be taken up by the committee in regard to any investigation with regard to DepEd. In this particular privilege speech, Mr. Chair, I even question a particular law. It's Republic Act 1847. This is a law enacted in 1995. And in that particular law, it prohibited DepEd, then called DEX, that time, Mr. Chair. DEX at that time was already prohibited from procuring and publishing the books. And it should be relegated, or it should be transferred to the private sector publishers. For more than 25 years, Mr. Chair, the DepEd did not follow the law. It's Republic Act 1847. I've been pointing out to them several times already. But there was no investigation done on that matter. How is it that a manifestation issued during a budget hearing be taken up as motu proprio when a full privilege speech dealing on the same subject matter, and even, I think, more appropriately described as more complete. But it wasn't taken up, Mr. Chair. This is all, and I thank you very much for allowing me. Thank you.